This program is powered by AIM Employers Association and Ogletree Deacons, a Feature Group USA production.
Hello, everybody. I'm Phil Brandt, President and CEO of AIM Employers Association. And a recent survey of AIM members in Illinois, Indiana, Missouri, and Florida revealed the top 5 challenges they're experiencing with remote and hybrid work. Strap in, Dr. Phil's tough truth, and that's a tough truth, is coming next on This Week at Work.
This Week at Work is the only show to pack workplace news, practical HR solutions, and timely insights into every 30-minute episode. From boardroom battle plans to courtroom consequences, each week we discuss the latest topics that matter most to HR professionals and business leaders like you.
Gallup is showing that manager engagement is continuing to drop. Well, if manager engagement is low, wouldn't we naturally think that their employees that report to the manager engagements will even be lower? There's a low supply, so the employees get a chance to demand their working conditions, and I accept that. Happiness and engagement are not the same. We see engagement scores continue to decline.
Leave each episode with a downloadable prescription to either heal or strengthen your work life. All this and more on This Week at Work.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. Good morning, Burt. How are you?
I'm doing well, Phil. You know, I just want to start off the show real quickly by saying...
Are you going to make fun of like tough truth? And I can't get that out. Say it 5 times fast.
I'm not. I'm actually going to compliment you on an amazing program that AIM hosted last week. You all knocked it out of the park. It was just one of the best programs I've been a part of. I've been doing work with AIM for close to 30 years now, and I have to say that program you all put on last week for about 500 plus members. You guys hit an absolute grand slam.
Yeah, thank you for that, Burt. I appreciate that, and we got some just fantastic feedback. It's really the highlight event of the year for us to celebrate with our members, and we we have a little bit of a problem. We only have 550 people in the room.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny about that? We'll do this real quick. When we did our first one, we had to give away about 250, 300 seats. No one wanted to come to it. They didn't understand, of course. They've not ever attended a program like that before. And ever since then, we have sold out. The problem is we have less and less companies, and it's a little bit like our topic today. So now we have a little bit of a conundrum. We have less companies participating, but we're still selling out because those companies are bringing more and more people, right? And so that makes it a much harder seat to get. And we've talked about limiting the number of seats each company can buy, so that we could get more companies to participate. But it's quite a conundrum. And without moving to a convention center, we don't know how to host it differently. But thank you for that feedback. I know I had a great time, as I always do. People got the chance to laugh at me and make fun of my costume as a movie director.
You look good there, Phil. I like that. What were those stirrup pants you were wearing and high
those
boots
just my khakis with some high knee socks or something. I don't know, but I just put on what they tell me to put on. But it was a lot of fun, and producer Nick and his team nailed it out of the park. So if anyone is ever in an event like that and they need help, Feature Group is the group we've turned to this is our 11th annual for 11 straight conferences. We had to take a break during COVID. Hey, but let's get to the topic today. And that's why some of our people have joined in to listen. And I did hear at the conference a lot of great compliments of you, Burt, as one of the co-hosts here. And I don't ever get a compliment, but I know you do. So I just want to share that with you. But today's topic is an interesting topic. So as Nick and I were having some pre-roll there and discussing, and it's really interesting when we talk about what's happening in the workforce with remote work and engagement. These two things, I believe, are tied together. I'm always in the conversation on remote work. Everyone knows I really don't favor it. I understand it. I get it. we allow it here at AIM as well. But it's not really my preference. It's not my first choice. I do it because really pretty much the employees that I value really want to work remotely. I don't believe that it's unnecessary that I have to require them to come in, but I will tell you, I think we perform better when everyone comes in the office. That's just my facts of the matter. So what's interesting is we've done, as we do here at AIM, we do a lot of surveys and we get feedback from our members. And we did a quick survey on remote work and their current arrangements, as this has always been shifting. And it seems to be finding an equilibrium of where it's at. In fact, I think in our survey, about 86% of our respondents said that they don't plan to make any changes. Kind of where they're at is where they're at for now. But the survey was overwhelming with some results that said, employee morale and job satisfaction have been improved because of their remote work arrangements. I'm a little tongue-tied here this morning. And what is interesting when you complement that with the Gallup survey that says, hey, engagement is down and continues to decline. And it starts with managers, with a decrease in manager engagement at a level higher than the general working population. And then the general working population's engagement is down as well. So morale and job satisfaction is up, but engagement is down. And that's quite a conundrum for business leaders like myself and those that are trying to run a business and turn a profit and sustain employment and do all the right things. Of course, people will enjoy not having to come into the office and working in wherever and whatever environment that they like to work in. But that doesn't mean that they're more productive, and it doesn't mean that they're more engaged. And I don't know that I think that's the right trade-off. I'm not sure what the balance is, but it's not necessarily the right trade-off with that. I know you always have an opinion in this space, and you enjoy the benefits of remote work, and probably always have even before COVID. You just had to be where you were, much like a sales team might have to be where they need to be, not necessarily in the office. What's your take on that, Burt?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, Phil, and I think it is quite the conundrum as you raised. The people are definitely, in my opinion, more satisfied with their employment when they have the ability to work remotely. My biggest concern related to remote work, though, is really a business continuity issue. I think that the newer employees, and this is especially true in the legal area, they definitely miss out on opportunities for engagement and sort of on-the-job learning when they can't just pop into an office next door and say, hey, can I get a gut check on this? Or people aren't around to go to lunch together, where a lot of times that's where discussions, you kind of get a peek behind the scenes and you learn about is sort of the nuances of the workplace and dealing in law, dealing with particular opposing counsels or dealing with certain judges. And those are the conversations that are had informally during lunches and those types of things. So I kind of look at remote work. The biggest downside to me is a longer term problem of business continuity and training of the newer and younger employees. But of course, job satisfaction is up when people don't have to be in the workplace all the time. I mean, heck, some employers, just not even having to suffer through a commute to and from work can raise job satisfaction. Not spending, St. Louis, you can get anywhere in almost 20 minutes, but in other cities, you're talking 45 minutes, an hour, hour and a half commute each way to and from work. That adds hours to the day. And, I think that there is a lot of merit to remote work and job satisfaction when you can avoid useless and wasted time like that.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I don't know if I even call it job satisfaction, right? Are you really satisfied with your job, or you're just satisfied with the way you're living your life? Your employer doesn't create something that satisfies you with your job. You're still doing the same job. In fact, I would argue that you're doing less of the job. You're less engaged, and yeah, you're more happy that you don't have to leave your home, or you're
Right.
more happy that you don't have to fight the traffic, or you're more happy. And I want to get into this idea with you because it's one that many businesses are struggling with. They just had some great conversations with our roundtables in Indiana yesterday on this topic. You're more happy that you can have the accommodations in life that you're looking for by remote work, but you don't necessarily do a better job. And I really believe those survey results that I read, whether it's AIM surveys or others, are accurate. When you dig into the questions of asking people why and what, it's really all about their personal preference
Yeah, that's right.
and designing a lifestyle that they like. And that's important in life and maybe one of the most important things, but not at the expense of what's paying the bills. And as employers, and I'm putting myself in that employer group as a CEO, we have to adjust, unfortunately, because of the supply and demand issue that I covered at the conference.
Mhm.
We have to adjust our expectations. Our employees produce less for us. And they don't produce as much as they once did with the engagement levels that we see. And that's a really tough pill to swallow. And it means that we have to do things differently. And I think the intervention of technology is going to change that. And unfortunately, that's one hand forcing the other that says, well, then invest in technology and replace the mundane task that sometimes people are faced with, but that's going to lead to less people working, and that creates a bigger problem that's even more of a concern for me. But that really seems to be a struggle. So here's the question, Bert, that is often was a great conversation yesterday in Indiana. You have remote workers. Are remote workers allowed in your opinion, should we make conditions where when people are expected to work 9 to 5, the old additive 9 to 5, 8 to 4, whatever the schedule is, to have children in their home that need to be under their care while they're working, right? And I know one thing that drives remote work is that issue right there alone. That drives um, people to want to work from home. And I don't believe you're working when you're providing childcare services or looking after your children and being mom and dad. I had an employee quit over that not so long ago because I would not allow them to provide their parental care while they are doing work at the same time.
Yeah, it's so and I would expand it, Phil. It's not just childcare, but it also applies to elder care
Elder
because a
care,
lot of
that's
people are
right.
taking
Yeah.
care of their elder parents while they're working remotely. When I work with clients to establish remote work policies or hybrid policies. And for some employers, we've even taken the step, and I've drafted remote work agreements where you get the employee's signature on a set of expectations. And one of the points that I list in that remote work agreement is that the ability to work remotely means that you still have to work, and that if you have somebody in the home that needs care, child care or elder care, you have to make other arrangements when you're remotely working. That this is not to be used as time to take care of children or adult or elder parents. It is not free time for you. Now, of course, if you want to take your lunch break, and that's what you're doing on your lunch break, then by all means. But during the working day, you are supposed to be working.
Yeah. And then, and I get that. And that's something I think that's very reasonable to say in practice.
Hmm.
The discussion we were having yesterday is, an HR professional said, but I know that's not what's going on.
Exactly.
I know people are bending those rules and flexing them to their advantage. And it's kind of like, just don't say nothing and nobody will really know. And then that starts to really create an unfairness. And we see that then come back in employee opinion and engagement surveys where people who don't have the ability to flex and work from home recognize these things are happening and they don't want to rat out their coworkers, but they feel a very fair injustice is occurring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It's a
and
tough
we
spot for leaders. It's a really tough spot.
it is, and we always talk about the notions of consistency and fairness in when you're dealing with employment law. And one of the big concerns is that if some of your hardest workers see other employees sort of getting away with things, uh, that's a real negative impact on those high performers when they think that it's unfair. They start to question themselves as, why am I working so hard? Why am I showing up to the workplace every day? Why am I bending over backwards from the employer when, this other guy who's doing, similar work to me or a similar job uh, is working from home, not showing up, not producing nearly as much, and they're getting paid the same as I am. It's just not fair, and it
Yeah.
results in burnout sometimes of your best employees.
It does. And it's supply and demand theory in its finest, right? There's fewer employees available that have the skills that we want, and therefore they get to command wages. They get to command working conditions with that in these situations. I applaud every employer that's trying their best to make everything work because it's very tough. But there you go. Those are some of the tough truths that we have that just relate to remote work. Nick?
Level up your HR game with an AIM Employers Association membership. Get 24/7 expert support, exclusive training, and a network of peers. Join thousands of HR leaders building better organizations. Call AIM at 800-948-5700 or visit aimea.org today to learn about becoming a member.
All right, so there you have it. Those are the tough truths of working from home. It's not easy. Bert, are you ready for Lawyer on the Clock?
I am ready for Lawyer on the Clock, Phil.
All right, Nick, pull that lever.
Curious about a case that could wreck your workplace? Lucky for you, we have a lawyer on the clock.
Phil, the first one has been in the news quite a bit lately as on the national level, Congress is talking about passing a new budget bill. And one of the features of that bill is a proposal to eliminate taxes on tipped workers, which I do think would have a profound impact on the restaurant, retail, hospitality industry. Maybe not as much of an impact as some people might think. It's certainly a good political talking point. But on Monday this week, Republicans in the House unveiled plans for a tax bill that would make tips tax-free. And as currently written, the bill would create a tax deduction for tips through 2028. And so you'll recall that during the last presidential campaign, President Trump listed as one of his 20 core promises, including no tax on tips. And so he made that a campaign promise, and he's trying to make good on that. Now, what's interesting is
Man, that brings me a lot of relief, Bert, because I know when I used to work for tips, I probably wasn't the most forthcoming in my tips. If it was cash and no one knew, it went right in my pocket back, when I'm 16, 17 years old delivering pizza and so forth for our friends over at Emos. But nevertheless, so
I'm
this
either
will make a
glad
big
you're
change in the economy, right?
well, I'm either glad you're not under oath, Phil, or maybe that there's a statute of limitations. Either
I
one,
think there
but
is on that. I
all
think
right.
there is. Yeah.
So yeah, this could have a big impact on the economy, but maybe not as much as people might think. It makes, like I said before, a really good political talking point. It appears to be politically popular to exempt tipped income from taxes. But what percentage of the US population do you think right now
Hmm.
works as tipped minimum wage employees? And before you answer that, just remember the number of states that have either eliminated the tipped employee the tipped employee tax or wage, or have raised the minimum wage to a point where most employers have stopped using the tipped minimum wage. What
Well,
percentage of the workforce
I'm
currently receives tips?
well. I want to give a little background to. I'm going to guess um, I think a pretty high number, and it's because everywhere I go today, someone's asking for a tip, right?
The
I mean,
ubiquitous
I go
tip
to a
jar, they're
buffet
everywhere.
line. I go to a buffet line and the guy wants a tip. I'm like, wait a
Yep.
minute. I sat myself, I'm feeding myself. I had to get up and serve myself, and you want a tip. I don't understand that.
Yep.
Um, I'm going to guess 27%.
Well, that's a really high number. So
I said it was going to be high. Yeah.
according to a wealth manager at a group wealth management position at Steward Partners, only 2.5% of the U.S.
Oh my
workforce is
gosh.
employed in jobs that traditionally received tipped wages.
Okay,
So
traditionally receive it.
right.
Yes.
So that's really a low number, and I want to make it clear that that a lot of the places where you're seeing those ubiquitous tip jars, those employees are no longer tipped minimum wage employees. They're making an hourly rate of pay. Under federal law, you could pay
Oh.
employees $2.13 per hour and take a tip credit for the balance to make up the amount to get them to the $7.25 minimum wage. Most places these days, and I think this survey is correct, most places these days are not using that tip credit any longer. They're paying the employees a straight hourly wage, even though you see that tip jar by the cash register. So it may
So the
not.
differentiation there is those that are claiming, well, we pay employees less because they have tips, not
Correct.
those who are paying at the general minimum wage and also getting tips.
Yeah.
That'd be the number I'm interested in. I bet it's 27%, Bert.
Yeah,
I'm
it,
sticking
it
with my number.
it could be. It could be. So just to kind of close this out, what the Republicans are talking about is that there would be a 100% federal income tax deduction on up to $25,000 in tips each year. It would limit the deduction to traditionally tipped workers such as servers, perhaps beauticians and hospitality workers, and it would exclude highly compensated employees. So we'll have to stay on top of this one and follow that.
All right. That's an
All right.
interesting one. Should be a great agreement. I heard both sides of the aisle during the election period saying, campaign period, say we don't want to tip these or tax these tips. So signed and sealed and delivered in my book.
Yeah. So we'll
Why
see
would
what
there be any
happens.
argument?
I bet there will be. So, so the next one I want to talk about, Phil, is a case that was argued at the Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals. Everybody who listens from Missouri knows we are in the Eighth Circuit. And yesterday, a panel of three judges heard a case involving Werner Enterprises. That's a trucking company. And this case was brought by the EEOC. Last year, the EEOC took this case to trial, and they won on behalf of a deaf truck driver applicant and they recovered initially $36 million on behalf of the deaf truck driver applicant. That amount was later reduced under the federal damage caps to $300,000. But the reason why I want to talk about the case is because a significant issue was raised in the case. And it appears that at least two of the three judges on the panel are really concerned about the fact that at the trial court level, at the district court level, the court apparently did not allow the defendant, Warner Enterprises, to introduce evidence that the employee that the employer was precluded from offering evidence that the individual posed a direct threat to the health and safety of himself, perhaps coworkers, and to the public at large. In this particular case, the truck driver applicant had completed truck driving school and obtained his commercial driver's license, but he was turned away because he was not able to complete the company's training program, which required a two-way conversation with the trainer during a driver observation session. And so again, and I said the case went to trial last year. It actually went to trial in 2023. And so I do think that these judges are skeptical of this. The EEOC does not like the direct threat analysis. Clients or listeners who've dealt with me before on those issues, I always tell people that the EEOC does not like the direct threat analysis. But if an employee presents a direct threat to the health and safety of themselves, coworkers, or even the public at large, it's part of the law, and the employer gets to take advantage of that as a defense to claims under the ADA.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I got a lot of thoughts on that. I'm just going to keep to myself because, but where I was going is not to go too far with it because I just don't know enough. But you have to have a horn. If you don't have a horn, your vehicle isn't considered safe in that sense. And in the state of Missouri, for an example, you have to have a test. And one of the things they do is they beep the horn. If it works, the vehicle is one step closer to passing the safety step. If not, you got to replace your horn or fix it. Well, the purpose of that is so someone can hear it to, help avoid dangerous situations. So I don't know how that plays out, but that's a tough one is my point.
Yeah, one of the other issues they looked at the case, the employer also was precluded from introducing evidence that trying to accommodate the employee would present an undue hardship. And my mind immediately goes to, things that you might be able to put a listening device on the truck that when the truck hears a horn, it alerts the driver through the seat
of a light, like you might see in a hotel
Yeah.
room or something. That's right.
Exactly. So there, it's interesting. The employer was precluded from introducing evidence of what that undue hardship might be. And so I'll keep my eye on this one. I get
that is an
get into
interesting
some
one
of
because
these.
it does help us as we think about, what do we do when we look at accommodations and
Yeah, exactly.
and it's important to make accommodations and do the right things. So keep us abreast of that one, Burt.
Will do. And then Phil, the last topic today, I know we only have a couple minutes left, but I'm going to be probably breaking some news to some people out there. Late yesterday, the Missouri Republicans successfully shut down Senate debate to repeal the sick leave law. And so yesterday, late afternoon, they successfully repealed the Missouri paid sick time law. Now that repeal will not go into effect until August 20.
I just got to stop right there.
All right,
because
August
you've been
28.
talking about this for quite a while since this went into effect, right? And we've seen it come in, and it's kind of like me guessing the date of the birth for my grandchildren that are coming, right? I told you I have 3 grandchildren coming this year.
Crazy.
It is absolutely crazy. And no twins in that.
Amazing.
So when you think about that, it's like, well, when are they tomorrow they're going to be here. Tomorrow gets here. I go, well, I think it's actually going to be tomorrow. And I think you just kept pushing it a little bit closer down the road. You never admitted defeat. I like that about you. I mean, that's the spunk that I want in a good lawyer. Is we're not gonna face defeat, and then eventually it works out, right? One day the baby's gonna be born, and go, see, I was right. Is that what I'm getting from you right now? See, I was right.
Maybe, Phil. I mean, I did try to fall on my sword a couple of weeks ago where I said that, to my surprise, the Supreme Court of Missouri upheld the law. And then I said that I thought the legislature would get the repeal done before the law went into effect. I was wrong on both of those, but I still held out a little bit of hope that the law might get repealed after the fact. And I had been recommending to your listeners and had been recommending to my own clients that instead of wholesale revising all of your paid sick time and all of your paid leave policies, let's adopt an interim policy for the remainder of this year. And then let's take time toward the end of the year to figure out how to make all of our sick time and paid time off policies, vacation time, work cohesively together starting January 1, 2026, with the idea that if this gets repealed, there's a lot of work that we won't have to do. Well, it has now been repealed. And so we're in this weird period right now. Well, actually, the Missouri House has repealed it. It is going to the governor's desk likely today, and it is expected that he will sign it. So we'll be in a weird period.
So you're hearing it first right here on This Week at Work from Burt Garland.
That's right.
So once that happens, Burt, what does that mean for us?
Well, it means that from May 1 of this year, so just a couple of weeks ago, through August 28th of this year, employees will continue to accrue 1 hour of paid sick time for every 30 hours worked. That time is immediately available for them to use. And then after August 28th of this year, all of it goes away.
So it all goes away, or we're not sure what will happen?
No, it all goes away. And now I will tell you, I do expect to see some court challenges to the legislature's actions, but I doubt those will be successful, and I would be very surprised if a court would restrain or delay the effect of the repeal from taking effect. I do think as of August 28th, it goes away.
Okay, so then Missouri will not have a paid sick leave law. Yeah,
correct. And so what had happened is that the Republicans, after it was passed at the last general election, they had in recent months floated this bill to completely repeal the paid sick time law. The Democrats successfully filibustered that bill and got it past the effective date. So the law went into effect on May 1. The Republicans and the Democrats had been negotiating for quite a while to refine the paid sick time law. But I think the Republicans finally woke up and realized that all the Democrats were doing were delaying the repeal of the bill, and the longer it remained in effect, the more it becomes entrenched in the workplace. And the Republicans invoked an unusual procedural move known as calling the previous question, or PQ. And that happened yesterday, and they made the motion for PQ yesterday afternoon, and right around 6 p.m. And that's when it got repealed.
Wow. Well, yeah, that's big breaking news. We're going to have to talk more about that.
We'll cover it next week, Phil.
And we'll know more hopefully in the next day or two, right? Once that gets signed, if it gets signed. And if you heard it here, you can expect that. And in quick summary, you got to continue to follow the 1 hour for every 30 hours worked until August 26th, is
28th.
it? 28th?
August 28th, yeah.
August 28th. And then after that, you can go back to your normal mode of operation. I mean, just poke a needle in my eye. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, come on. All right, Burt.
Could they not have done this 15 days ago? That would have been much more helpful.
In closing, we have some questions for you here. Just a little pop quiz.
All right.
If you're ready. Nick's putting up a graph for you to look at, and I'm going to read out a category, and you're going to name the category. You ready?
Oh, wow. Yes.
So you pick 1 through 6. I'll read the category to you.
All right.
All right. Let me find my notes here. Okay. Which bar represents maintaining company culture? Now, let me set this up. This is the challenge with remote hybrid work. Okay, so this is employers' challenge with remote hybrid work. Which bar represents maintaining company culture?
Number 1.
Okay, bar number 1.
Yep.
All right, Nick.
Oh, I was close, though.
All right, so that was actually bar number
All right.
5, and Nick, that number was what percent? 47.11%. Okay, let's go here. You're going to get the last one right for sure, Burt.
All right, I hope so.
Yeah, there's no way to get this one wrong.
Yep.
The last one. Ensuring data security. Which bar represents ensuring data security?
Let's go with number. Let's see, it's going to be 2 or 4. Let's go with 4.
Number 4, 17%.
Oh.
Nope, that's number 2, only 10.7%. So that one, it doesn't seem to be overwhelmingly a concern with remote hybrid work. And which one would represent managing employee performance?
Let's go. That'll be 3 or 6. I'm going to go with 6.
6.
Oh,
nope,
gosh.
it is number 3. First,
My second choice.
The...
My second choice has been correct every time so far. All right.
All right. Well, I'm glad we were your second choice this morning when you woke up to spend time with us. So
Sure.
There you go. All right. So let's look at the next one here, which is addressing technological issues.
4. Hey.
All right. There you go, Burt. Excellent. You're gonna get this last one right. So there's only one category left, and that's managing team cohesion.
Number 1.
There you go. Ding, 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 ding. Good job, Burt. All right. So number 1, the toughest issue that employers have when managing the challenges of remote hybrid work is maintaining team cohesion. And I think everyone in the workplace understands the importance of working as part of a team. The last category, number 6, there is other. And that's a big category and a long list of items. It's a great survey report that our members have done. You can get a copy of that off of the website. We're going to make that available if you're interested in seeing more of the results. Pretty good survey. Shout out goes to the AAIM team and Chris Cruz, who does this for us out of our office down in Orlando, Florida. So thank you, Chris.
That was great.
All right, Burt. I look forward to an update next week. I'm glad we heard it here about Missouri Prop A. And until then, go out and be good to someone. We'll be back next Thursday. Take care.
Thank you once again for tuning in to This Week at Work. If you enjoy the show, please like it, share it, and make sure it's on your calendar every week. Ask your burning questions anytime and let us know what topics you'd like us to cover. Just go to hrAsk.org and be sure to leave a review wherever you catch our show to help other HR pros find us as well. We'll see you next week when we discuss what's happening this week at work.